Welcome to the Goof and Goober Show. You decide who's the goof and who's the goober. Join Matthew and Regan as they talk all things from their own personal life questions to reviews on movies and TV shows. Now, your hosts, Regan and Matthew. Good afternoon, ladies and gentlemen, the Goobs, the GG Nation. Guys, welcome to the pod. It has been a week. It's been a wild week. And there's some things to talk about, some crazy things to talk about that needs to be talked about. But introducing me, I am Regan Dvorak, your host, your favorite host of all the of the Goof and Goober Show. But joining me tonight, as always, my right-hand man, the man in charge. He is here. He's always here most of the time, except for next week. Matthew freaking Leathers.
Let's go!
Oh gosh.
Are you ready to rumble?
Matthew, how are you? How are you doing?
Man, dude, today was a good day. Okay?
Yeah?
Let me tell you something.
Give me the deets.
I got some stuff done today. I got some freaking stuff freaking done. Okay?
All
you
right.
want to know what I did?
What'd you get done?
You want to know what I did? So, I freaking paid off a bunch of freaking crap today.
Ooh.
A bunch of freaking crap today.
Bunch of freaking crap. Paid it
I freaking
off?
paid this. Okay, so I've got this guy. Okay, this guy, he's kind of an idiot, and he essentially I'll ask him, hey, you want to help me with this project?
Yeah.
And he'll be like, oh yeah, dude, I can totally do that.
He sounds like a nice guy. That's what he sounds like.
He'll start it, and I'll be like, oh, I gotta pay you because that's just how I am. And he starts the projects, but then he doesn't finish them. Well, this weekend we freaking finished the projects.
It sounds like you might have finished some other projects that you're not you're undermining right now. Maybe did you put those shelves up behind you? I'm just curious.
Yeah, I did those all by myself.
All by yourself?
Thank you for asking.
Oh,
thank you for asking.
I you know what?
And then
totally
also I've got my this Saturday, me and my guy. For those of you who don't know, the friggin' idiot, it's Regan. We friggin' finished a fire pit outside
you got
my
it
backyard.
going, man.
Yep. It took us about 2 months.
Yep.
In time from the start of the project to the end of the project to get the job done.
Mm-hmm.
We did he's been at my house for the past 3 Saturdays in a row.
Yeah.
But before that was every other essentially. So we got the project done, and I had to pay that guy. Had to freaking pay on my freaking credit card. Had to freaking pay on my roof because I got to freaking pay my roof.
Oh,
had to freaking pay my mortgage. I had to pay freaking everything.
Yeah, dude.
Everything. And
that's what happens.
Freaking going to Miami this week,
dude. Which is a update on the Goof and Goober. Next week, we will have a special guest. So stay tuned. If you were here for the pre-show, you know who it's going to be. So thanks for showing up for the pre-show. If you're not here and you're listening on Google Play, Apple Podcast, or Spotify, or Podbean, whatever that one is, thanks for listening, first off. Second thing is be here 8 p.m. on Mondays. We're freaking live. We're freaking going at it. We're freaking killing it right now. Also, if you're watching this and you're like, what the heck is wrong with Regan's face? It's a kinker sore. So screw off, okay?
Actually, the crazy thing is nobody actually asked.
I know people are asking. I know it.
Nobody asked.
Yeah, nobody asked. Kaylee. Anyways.
Nobody asked.
Yeah, seriously. So big news, guys. This is something that I have been pondering. It's been on my mind, and I'm trying to kind of wrap my mind around this. And Matthew, maybe we can talk a little bit about this before we get into the Haunted Mansion, which is what we'll be talking about tonight. But this is the one thing that I did want to talk to you. It's kind of making its way around the world right now because it is a big deal. It's a big new discovery. And that is that aliens are real. Have you heard about this?
No.
Fill me in. Haven't?
No.
You have. Haven't
I have
you?
not. I have not.
Are you kidding me?
I'm not kidding you.
Okay, here we go. I'm gonna bring up the videos that there was a hearing whistleblower that's allegedly the U.S. government is let me share my screen. Allegedly covering up Blurry Creatures podcast. Oh gosh, I gotta find the right one though. Yeah, and I want to find the one where the ground. No. It's all around. I don't know why. It's like
this stuff has been going on for years. Exactly. Area 52? Ever heard of that?
Okay. Do you believe in aliens, though, Matthew? Let me ask you that. That's a good question. I need to know.
It's a very good question because here's the thing. Area 52. All right. Area 52. Everybody knows that's where all the crazy thing happens. Everybody friggin' knows. It's the other secret site. So to answer your question about aliens, I like to put it into this scenario. Like, do I think that there are other beings out in this universe? There's a shot. I mean, I imagine that maybe there is. There's a very good possibility there is. But if there was, then read Genesis 6, okay?
I'm pulling it up.
What verse exactly? Genesis 6 is definitely a wide variety. Wickedness in the world.
We could do that. You want to? I mean, Matthew, keep going with your point, though. I want to hear what you have to say before we get to Genesis 6
like
and all that
there
stuff.
Would be more evidence of aliens if we, but by now, since I'm one of those skeptics that doesn't think that the moon landing might not have happened back in the day. It could have been faked. So mine's all hypothetical at this point. If we actually landed on the moon and we are actually traveling the universe as much as we say we have, there's a shot we've found something at some point. And for there not to be evidence presented to the public, then it would lead me to believe that they're not real at this point. Now, there's also the side of me that's like, well, the government could also hide things like they do all the time and hide things from the public on purpose, which then again kind of points to my hunch that the moon landing wasn't real and that we didn't actually make it to space. Just because nowadays anything could be faked.
Right. Well, I'm with you in the skepticism. I mean, like, there's a lot of things that I'm like now like very skeptical about because I think I'm being more like I can't trust anything. There's nothing in this world like I need to make sure that it's true and I really need to have that verification. And one thing is that over and over the government shows that they cannot be trusted. And so that's kind of the thing where you're like, okay, the moon landing, that's one thing that I'm like, yeah, it could be I don't necessarily know. We could have, but we also couldn't have, because I've seen a lot of things where like they show the videos where they think they did like a mock-up or a recording in a like tank and all that stuff, and you can see like the bubbles and everything like that.
Well, you gotta think, when was the moon landing? Was the moon landing? The 70s? 60?
I think it was like in the 60s. Yeah.
69.
69. And that's crazy if we did go to the moon at that age, and we haven't even been back since then. We haven't gone to the moon. Like, technically, we haven't. Yeah.
They haven't gone to the moon.
Yeah, they haven't gone to the moon since. And they're planning on it. They're saying they're planning on it. We'll see. But well, I don't know. And that's kind of the weird thing that you have to be. I don't know.
My thing is a lot of these things can be faked, and they have a lot of money to fake things. Like,
right, but it's
go and watch the movie Interstellar. You could, in 20, 30 years, you could forget about the movie Interstellar and say, yeah, we actually did this.
But that's the thing. Like, it was in 1969. Yeah.
But we've been to Mars.
Well, yeah, we've sent things to Mars,
but not the moon.
But yeah, I don't know. That's the thing. I'm skeptical about the thing. But get back to what I originally wanted to talk about was the aliens. Is this like
the rover isn't on Mars? I thought we landed on Mars.
It might be another thing. I never heard of this, but like,
watch NASA's Perseverance rover land on Mars. We should have asked Nick this question, because he actually worked for NASA.
I should ask. He does follow that very closely. He's watched, and I know he does. One of my friends, my good friends, who has been on the podcast for it.
It's on Mars.
Yeah, he can verify it. He actually worked in NASA and everything that they do there. So I don't know if he.
I don't think he's saying that he can verify it, but he's gonna give us a more honest opinion versus what you read in the news.
I mean, I think they do work on everything at NASA, and I went to NASA and I toured the whole thing, and I don't know, it's weird, and I don't know. I agree, it is kind of I don't know. It's a whole that's a whole nother conversation that I didn't really want to get. Well, I guess that we're kind of getting into. Screw you, man. Yeah, but
hope you feel insecure.
Thank you. But the aliens. Okay, so if we actually found life outside of Earth, how is that going to change society as we know it? Because that means inhuman people are coming out from wherever onto our planet, basically. Mm-hmm. And who knows if it's a sphere or flat Earth, you know what I mean? And what I'm trying to figure out is if they, right. I agree. People should be asking more about the purpose and why they were created. But like that, that creates a whole new perspective of life, I think, for people. And the whole creation of people, because that, I don't know, that's like the technology for sure is going to have to change, because we're going to adapt to their technology if they have technology to bring them across galaxies. And who knows how far the freaking galaxies are really, because I don't know how you can actually measure Yeah. I don't know how you could actually measure the whole galaxy and determine, okay, this is how
I
far
think
it
it's
is.
a guess. It's got to be
It
a
really
guess.
is a guess. It really is. But I mean, that's the whole thing. Is just like, okay, then where's this person coming from? Where's this alien guy coming from? And who knows? You know,
Isn't it crazy how people think, like, you got to think space goes on forever, essentially. Space is forever. You keep going, there's more space, right? The farther you go out, the more space there is. That there's not a God controlling space. There's people who don't believe in God when there's all this space. Where do you think that space came from?
oh,
So stupid.
it's stardust, man.
We know more about space than we do the ocean. That's crazy. That's crazy to me. That's ridiculous. But it's true.
We can't.
I mean,
yeah.
I feel like the ocean is like space, though. I mean, you can get to a point where
they
it just
technically train.
literally, you could go, like, when you get into the ocean, you can keep going down and probably never stop at some point.
Mm-hmm.
And there's just so much. It just keeps going. Imagine how many ships are in the ocean. Just at the bottom.
Sitting there. Just sitting at the bottom there.
Dead animals at the bottom of the ocean.
Yeah, that's really... we got to get Isaac on the friggin' pod. That is some friggin'
He's
deep
asking
stuff.
some good questions, man.
That's some really good stuff, Isaac.
He goes, isn't that how we are as people too? We tend to find out more about the other than we are willing to, than what we are to ourselves. Preach it, brother, preach it.
But that's the whole thing with, I mean, biblical thing is take the log out of your own eye before you tell your brother about the speck in his eye or whatever. That whole parable. And so, I completely agree. We as human are designed to care more about other people's problems than even our own. And that is kind of, you can drift through life without having to deal with your own problems because you are technically blaming others for your own problems, and you have no responsibilities. You don't have to take any responsibilities. I don't know. That's kind of a weird kind of thing I wanted to talk about because it's been on my mind, and I was sleeping. I was laying in bed last night and I was thinking about it, and I was like, man, what does it mean if there are aliens now? What does that mean for us as a world? Is polarized? Our political system polarized, Isaac? I had no idea. But I was just sitting there looking up the stars, and I'm like, man, what is going to happen now if we start believing and really accepting? Like, it's kind of like the alien wrench being thrown now is clearly covering a lot up. Oh, yeah. They for sure are covering a lot up, for sure. I don't know that. I had a freaking point I really wanted to touch on with this alien thing is, when we as I don't know just how this is going to happen. Like, are we going to be peaceful? Are we going to, wage war? Obviously, we probably knocked down this spaceship that was inhumanic, whatever.
I think it's funny because I like that you bring up aliens because you're afraid of aliens. So does them bringing this stuff up freak you out?
Yeah. Well, are you gonna
go? are you gonna start making a bunker, or are you gonna use your basement as a bunker?
Dude, I might.
Everything.
Dude, I was actually watching. I was actually watching today on how to go off grid, because Tesla has like these solar shingles that you can add on your roof. It's like $100,000 basically to put these things on, and then but like it basically pays for itself. Like you don't have to pay really anything in electricity. Really, I mean, and it's completely off grid. You can totally live off of it. And like the guy also had like a Tesla car, which like that took up a lot of electricity. You rely on big bro. Yeah, Elon, my big boy. It was just the video I was watching. It was completely Tesla solar panels, but he was saying that there's a bunch of different companies that have the shingled solar panels. Gazpacho. Gazpacho, what is that?
The gazpacho.
What is that?
It's a dish. It's a food dish. Gazpacho.
Oh. I've heard that.
You want to see it,
Isaac? That Elon's an alien. I don't know. Let's see it.
You want to see what a gazpacho is?
I follow conspiracy theories people, and they do all the flat Earth stuff. Oh gosh. Oh baby.
Yeah, it's like a soup.
Yeah,
well, dude, it is a soup. But
we'll bring you on, Isaac, because you're the freaking man. We gotta get that. We gotta get Isaac on one of these days. Bring him on. Have a good time,
baby.
Oh baby, when you talk like that, you make a man. But here, let's real quick. I said I was gonna show you this, so I'm gonna.
Oh yeah, go ahead.
I'm gonna show you this here, but it's like a 48-second clip here. Check it out.
Do you believe we have crashed craft? Stated earlier, do we have the bodies of the pilots who piloted this craft?
As I've stated publicly already in my News Nation interview, biologics came with some of these discoveries. Yeah.
Were they, I guess, human or non-human biologics?
Non-human, and that was the assessment of people with direct knowledge on the program I talked to that are currently still on the program.
And was this documentary evidence, this video, photos, eyewitness? Like, how would that be determined?
The specific documentation I would have to talk to you in a skiff about.
Thank you, USA Today. Wow, you guys really freaking nailed it. You guys are so good. So there it is. He is on what do you call it? On not trial, but he's son of a biscuit. What is it? He's under oath. That's what I'm saying. He's under oath saying this. And so yeah. Testify. And
I mean, this is the problem. You and I both know, we've watched videos where people are clearly lying or extrapolating the truth to essentially either mislead or misguide the individual. And usually most people like what's his name? Republican. He's from Texas.
Romney.
Gosh, what is his name?
Ted Cruz.
Ted Cruz. He can usually sniff out that stuff. And most people can sniff out when people are lying or they're trying to evade the answer by trying to say some of the truth without giving the full answer, which is not the truth, to the question, if that makes sense. And the fact that she didn't combat it and combat the question or the answer kind of tells me that she feels that he was being genuine in his response, that it was non-human material, that maybe it is an alien.
Okay, but then here's my question too with this whole thing, because we can take it back to a biblical point of view, because we can go to the base Cain and Abel ages, Adam and Eve, Moses, no, Abraham is what I'm saying. They had the type of maybe that's what it is the the Nephilim. Genesis 6. That's what Isaac was talking about. The Nephilim were on the earth in those days, and also afterwards, when the sons of God went to the daughters of humans and had children by them. They were the heroes of old, men of renown. Yep. Genesis 6:4.
So that's what you think that is?
Oh no. Oh no.
Goof and Goober show. What is up?
He's
Your number
here.
one super fan.
Oh
Back
gosh.
on the team.
Nick, speaking of the devil, the man, have you been listening in on the conversation?
Yeah. That's why I wanted to join.
Are you doing laundry right now?
That's why I wanted to join and offer my 2 cents, if I may.
Okay. Yeah, go ahead. Nick.
Go ahead.
The floor is yours.
Yeah, I think that there should be age limits in Congress. I agree with you guys.
What age limit, Nick?
I would say probably under 30, because that way everyone would be really trendy. They would always like look cool and know all the lingo, but not get too old, right?
Now, Nick, it's probably, I'm assuming you hacked the system to get on the podcast. Which bravo to you, being the man you are of many talents. Now, Nick,
yeah, I mean, really, I was just kind of following up on the job interview.
We're still in discussion of
Really
possible
right now.
applicancies.
Nick,
sometimes it does just take like a month to deliberate and think about that. I guess.
Okay, Nick.
You just hope that your candidates in the meantime are not looking into other things, as they're kind of in the gray.
Okay, well, Nick, real quick, there is a big debate going on what we're talking about right now.
Oh yeah.
You pay attention to the news, I'm assuming, and later this week, a whistleblower came before Congress and testified under oath that the U.S. has found non-human pilots during a UFO hearing.
Yeah.
You being from NASA, and being in that
Formerly,
not currently, but formerly. What do you have to testify about this on live air?
Without incriminating yourself, obviously.
Obviously. Do you believe in aliens?
Hold up. Before we get into this, Nick, please be careful. I don't want you to get like an NDA or something, or like breaking something like that. So please be careful.
Well, yeah. I mean, when I left the federal government, I did sign an agreement that's like an NDA. So there's certain kinds of things I can't say too much on, and I will say,
well, I did not that he. No, I'm not saying he signed. Like, I know he signed one, but I'm saying just be careful to not break it. Is what I'm saying.
Yeah.
We're on live.
Yeah, yeah. Was that a real dog or a dog sound effect?
That was a real dog.
That was a real dog. That was Rousey.
Cool. I would say that it's a shocking testimony. Very interesting to hear.
Do you personally, Nick, believe in aliens?
I
Like you said,
I'm not
you don't
allowed to
like.
say.
Okay. You can't say. Okay, that's
Okay,
fine.
so you're not
that's
allowed
fine.
to say.
It's the official policy of NASA that we have no knowledge of extraterrestrials.
Okay.
And so this testimony, as you may or may not have heard, did
Mhm.
not reference NASA.
Right.
But of course, it didn't reference NASA. We
Okay.
like we're not dumb as to why it didn't
Yeah.
reference NASA. Like, come on.
Then my next, I mean, we can go. I don't know, Nick. Thank you for joining because this is very enlightening. I mean, we don't have to. You're obviously not giving
Just
us
be
any
careful
information.
what you say, please.
Yeah.
We don't want him to go to federal prison and be like, "Oh, I was on a podcast and I said on a podcast."
Yeah. And well, my main, I guess. There's a bunch of things we could talk, but what do you think of Genesis 6:4? We were just talking about that with, I don't know if I can't, because I don't want you to get in trouble. I don't know, or anything like that. With the Nephilim, were on the earth in those days. Do you think this is a reference to kind of like, I mean, obviously these are, I mean, technically speaking, dictionary, they are aliens. Because they're outside of Earth, and but
I've actually got a better question.
All right, go ahead.
From you going and being in NASA, did it push you towards Christianity being in NASA, or did it pull you away from Christianity?
So that's actually a very good question. I actually could have a long answer to this if you want to. I'll try to keep it short though. I was already a Christian going into working at NASA, and it's actually a big part of the reason why I accepted the job offer at NASA is I had the opportunity to help lead a Bible study of NASA interns, and in that Bible study, through a long series of events, we had the chance to invite some astronauts to the Bible study and share both their testimony as a Christian. So, how did you become a Christian? What's that been like? And then, how did you become an astronaut? What that's been like? And for the crew members who have already been assigned a mission and flown, we asked them, what has it been like being a Christian in space? And there's a lot of, I think, really cool anecdotes I could share from that time. I probably met about 6 astronauts, and at least one or two of them remembered me by my first name when I saw them on site later, which is kind of neat. But I think that NASA as an agency, their goal and their vision is to explore. It's one of the primary reasons they still exist, and to push the boundaries of where we've been and what we know about the universe. And I think in the same way, that's kind of my view of being a Christian, is to have a strong curiosity about the natural world.
Yeah,
with the view that God created all of it, and to understand God's creation is to understand Him as a creator better. And despite all of this, when you look at in Scripture, you could ask the question, what is the pinnacle of all of God's creation? Is it the oceans? Is it the fields? Is it space? Is it the cosmos? Is it the stars? Is it other planets, other galaxies, other phenomena that we don't even know about yet outside of our galaxy? Is other planets? Is like, what is it? And I think it's pretty clear that it's people, and that we, being made in the image of God, are the only thing in the entire universe that reflects His character in a unique and special way. And so I think in a lot of ways, NASA aims to explore the beauty of the universe. And because I was a Christian going into work at NASA, that helped me get a better grasp and a better lens for that. And to cherish God's creation and Him as a creator even more through that. One of the astronauts I became friends with was Kjell Lindgren. So by the time I met him, he had been on the ISS for one expedition, so that's like 6 months, and he's a strong Christian. He tells the story of on the weekends they get, usually like Saturday and Sunday, like they do very minimal or no work, like science experiments, so they kind of have some free time. And what Shell liked to do on his free time is read, and he brought a Bible on the ISS, and he was telling us a story of, as he was on the ISS, he was going through a devotional. And so one day he went over to, it's a part of the space station called the cupola, which is, I think it's Italian for window. It's just a window. And the way the orbit of the ISS works is outside of this window, it's like a giant window, like a couple people could fit in. And because of the orbit, this window is always facing Earth. It's the view you see at all times. And so he explains to us, he's going through this devotional, and he decided to read his Bible in this area. And what was on his reading plan for that day was Psalm 19:1. And Psalm 19:1 is the sky, the heavens declare the glory of God, and the skies claim the work of his hands. And he just shared with us, and then he read that in his Bible. You can imagine like reading it in front of you, and then just like looking up and to be able to see the entire earth outside of this window, and to look at all of the creation that most people know and love and experience, and to say that that is a reflection of God, the Creator, and it is good, it is beautiful. I think it's kind of it's a really cool level up of the concept of nature declares God's beauty, but that also means the whole earth and everything in it.
Right.
Amen.
No, that's good. The reason why I asked that question is, and I think Isaac, he kind of spells it out, but people like to use space and science and all of these things to try to negate Christianity in a way. But in reality, you being there, you living the experience, right? It pulls you closer to Christ, because you realize that this is real. Like this is something that like no other thing could take away the beauty of God, right? Like I remember there was this one time where I was just driving and I was like upset about something, and I just look up, and all it was the sun shining in my eyes, and it wasn't like I couldn't see. I could still see, but it was just so powerful that like you knew it was there. I don't know how to explain it. It was very weird, but it was like, this is like, that's God's creation, and there's nothing in this world that could take away from God's creation. And I think that a lot of time people, as Isaac said in the chat, is that people try to defile who we are as humans, right? The human race, even though we're created in God's image, and the things that we live around were created because of God. And people try to strip that away, and usually, and one of the bigger arguments is obviously using science and space and the Big Bang and aliens to try to say, hey, Christianity is not real because of this, this, and this. So that's why I asked that question. I've always wanted to ask you that. So it's pretty freaking sweet that I get to.
Yeah, that's I mean, in general, I think it's a really, really good question. I think a lot of people have a dichotomy in their mind that I think is false, that says I can't be a scientist or someone who looks deeply at the natural world and also a Christian. And I think there's a lot of apparent, I don't know. I think I kind of see them as like potential barriers or roadblocks for people to understand or live the Christian worldview. But I think in reality that all of those are false, and that truly I think being a Christian helps you enjoy and love the natural world better. And I think the natural world points to a creator and God's. That's actually a student group I was a part of in college. We looked at kinds of topics at that intersection and had weekly discussions on them of people, just anyone who's interested in the topics. And so there's a lot of parts to the question. There's a lot of kinds of places you could go with it. If you'd ever be interested to chat more about specific topics, be happy to share my thoughts. But yeah, in general, I think that there's nothing I've seen in the natural world that I think contradicts Christianity. And I see the opposite. I see the beauty and the intricate nature of how the world is, and to me, it screams a creator.
Right.
Side question: do you ever wish to give like a alien a handshake?
Maybe. Depends
Would that
if
be
they have,
cool?
What if they had like tentacles? Might be very fun.
So you're saying they have tentacles?
If,
You heard it here. You heard it here, folks. Nick said they got tentacles. You heard it here, folks. Nick said they got tentacles.
That was a unexpected, really good guest to have on here at the Goof and Goober Show. You guys heard it here. We do need to get going on to the actual movie, though. I know. I
What
was
about the
gonna ask. I wanted to ask Nick. There's so many questions I do want to ask Nick, but there's like I don't want to like.
It's like being in the
especially
military.
Yeah,
People
like
can't talk about things that they're doing in the
I
military.
hate
Same
that.
thing with
I
NASA.
freaking hate that. Like that's so it just doesn't help. You know.
Do you remember when I worked at Blizzard and I was game testing the new Call of Duty, but I couldn't
Right.
tell you what the Call of Duty was?
Yeah, I didn't think you did. I mean,
did
I
not
could watch
tell
you.
that. I did
No,
not.
like I think I remember you did.
No,
That's what I mean.
no, I didn't. I did not tell you.
Definitely did not.
I definitely did not. So, on to Haunted Mansion.
This
Ladies and gentlemen.
guys, we are moving on to the movie. We're gonna move on to Haunted Mansion, going from aliens to ghosts. Great
Great
freaking segue for us. Here we go. Let's just go through let's just give our spoiler right now, because I mean I'm looking at this on IMDb and it's got a 6.3 out of 10 stars. So I don't think too many people are going to care too much about this. But if you guys haven't seen it, and you don't want to get spoiled, and we're going to spoil you guys here. So this is your spoiler warning.
Official spoiler warning.
Official.
Spoilers! Spoiler warning!
Spoiling.
We're giving you guys a spoiler warning.
You
as
just
we
got
speak,
spoiled.
right? Spoiled. Like,
Don't
have
get
you ever had spoiled milk, actually? It's so bad.
Gosh, dude.
Oh.
Story about that real quick before we get into this. I was in my truck and my axle is always in the back seat, and I hear something crash, and I had just dropped axle off, but I look behind me, and he had brought in a container of milk, and he just left it in my truck, and spoiled milk got all over the side of my truck. I was not happy. Luckily, it wasn't like super spoiled, but it was still spoiled. I was like,
you could still smell it.
Yeah, it was like,
Oh,
I have a bunch of stories about spoiled milk. I got in trouble in middle school once for spoiling the milk. Anyways, guys, this is the little description of the Haunted Man synopsis. Ow.
Ladies and gentlemen, we went to go see the Haunted Mansion this last week.
Yeah.
I'll read the synopsis because you're
I can't talk, dude. I really can't.
It's okay.
I'm
We'll
gonna
ask
bite
you
my
to
cheek.
talk when we ask you to talk. So for those of you who don't know, this is Disney's second Haunted Mansion movie.
Mhm.
But this isn't like, you know how they have like Ant-Man 1, Ant-Man 2, Ant-Man Quantumania. Technically it's the third. Or Guardians 1, Guardians 2, Guardians 3. This isn't like that. This is like a completely different story with different characters. And so the synopsis here is that a single mom named Gabby hires a tour guide, a psychic, a priest, and a historian to help exorcise her newly bought mansion after discovering it had inhabited by ghosts. It was directed by Justin Simeon. It stars... it's got a pretty good cast. Lakeith Stanfield as Ben Mathis. We got Rosario Dawson as Gabby. We've got Owen Wilson as Father Kent. We've got Tiffany Haddish as Harriet. Danny DeVito as Bruce Davis. In a long laundry list. Jared
Jamie Lee
Leto's in there.
Curtis,
Jamie Lee
Jared
Curtis.
Leto. Who else? There
Chase
was,
Dillon, he plays the kid.
Winona Ryder
Ryder.
was
I
in
don't know
it.
is she on there?
She's not on this, but I know she was in it.
I don't know if she was on it, but whatever.
She was in it.
What'd she play?
She played the tour guide as well as one of the ghosts.
Winona Ryder did? Oh, okay, fine. Well, I don't know why she's not on here.
I don't know either, but she was.
Okay. Well, ladies and gentlemen, we're going to give our spoilers. We're going to talk about the movie. I'll give my spoilers right off the rip here. My at least first look. I'm giving this thing a freaking 4.5 out of 5 stars. This was a really good movie. This was a really good movie for I think Regan and I both are probably going to agree. This was like one of the funniest movies we've seen all year. It's not the funniest, but there was just a lot of good humor in this from Danny DeVito and some like, not crude humor, but like, almost like Dumb and Dumber humor where it's just kind of like stupid or, or dry humor, which we really enjoyed. I thought it was hilarious. It wasn't very scary. There was a couple parts where you're just like, oh, okay, that was pretty scary. But overall, it wasn't a very scary movie, which is good. And it is, personally, I do recommend it. I think a kid can go and see this and be just fine. I think Axel could have gone and watched this and been just fine. So, overall,
yeah.
Go ahead.
Well,
go ahead.
with Axel, I told him like, hey, you want to go see this movie? Because I thought this is a total movie he could go see. He's like, no, I'm going to be too scared because I think the previews make it seem like a really, really scary movie. The previews make it seem like this is a scary movie. Don't bring your kids, which I think they could have done better with the marketing for this movie. I mean, they got Owen Wilson and Danny DeVito, who are two guys that are usually commonly in comedy movies, and but I don't know. And previous the 2000, I think it was 2002. This is the previous Haunted Mansion.
Was that really 2002?
I think so.
2003.
Oh yeah, it was close.
Heavens.
Eddie Murphy was in that one, but that one wasn't even like. I don't know. That one wasn't that scary. I mean, I don't know.
It's got a 13% on Rotten Tomatoes, which is not even.
I don't know. Like, let's compare these. Let's compare these. Okay, this is the 2003 trailer for the Haunted Mansion. Okay, this is the 2003. Okay.
Okay, watching it.
You are cordially invited to the historic
I'm not
Gracie Manor.
But
we gotta put ourselves in 2003 mindset though.
We got to be in 2003. Oh gosh, how old was I? It was like 8.
Oh my gosh.
No, I was like 9 or 10. They already had a family. But the thing is, what scary movies were coming out in 2003 as well?
I don't know.
It had to be like Saw, movies like that, or The Circle.
History to it. And this history haunts these walls.
I don't think it's a good idea to put that information on the listing. People love bathrooms. We should play up the whole toilet angle. I think that'd be best.
Wait, hold up. Now I think I redact my statement. Because I hadn't watched this movie. Eddie Gracie. I think this is the same house with the same people.
I mean, yeah, it's the same people, but it's just a twist. It's like a whole series. It's not like it's not like they just made it up.
This is like Haunted Mansion 1, and what we watched was Haunted Mansion 2. Just different people. I feel like
if they did do that, they should have had Eddie Murphy in this.
Yeah, true.
Like, it's like a ghost. I don't know.
From Walt Disney Pictures.
What happened here, Mr. Greasy?
Do you believe in ghosts? No clue from the past.
She looks like Mom.
That's interesting.
No message from the future.
I am Madame Leota, seer of all.
Oh, that's great. What is that?
Can prepare
Yeah,
you
see,
for
Madame Leota was in there with the ball too. You know, it's
Yeah.
all kind of.
future.
Find the key that must be found.
That was easy.
So it's just a different iteration.
Hey! I'd really rather stay on the ground. Can I stay on the ground, please?
Because there's like comical things in this that it's like.
It's like an adventure movie with some scare, with comedy.
Yeah,
Don't stop panicking. I think this was after Shrek too, so we all knew that this was going to be like a donkey type movie.
and then
Eddie Murphy.
Dark spirits from the grave come forth.
Don't you make no dark spirits come out while I'm sitting there. Wait till I leave before the dark spirits come out.
The haunted mansion.
You wait till I leave. Do you bring back dark Dark
that's
spirits.
what. Yeah. So then if we go to just the haunted mansion trailer 2020. Oh, not 2022.
Regan.
What?
When my son and I moved in,
You typed in
What?
2023 or 2003. You freaking
Yeah, but it's
loser.
the same.
it
This is
wasn't
20.
as warm as we hoped. Okay, I'm gonna light a vanilla candle, and it's gonna be a game changer. And after midnight, the house comes alive.
This place is haunted!
We need your help.
It's time
It
to
makes me
assemble
feel like a
dream
Pirates of the Caribbean
We find
type
someone who can communicate
type
with
thing.
these
Like this
ghosts.
is.
People used to eat here.
I told you she's good.
It's a dining room.
I found a professor who knows haunted mansions.
I've been dying to go to this place for years. Mystery lurks around every corner. I summoned Madame Leota!
I can show you what happened, but it will cost you $3.
What?
Wow.
It's highway robbery.
Who said that?
That's highway robbery.
You're not that scary. You're really not. You're pretty terrifying. Can you turn it around just while I finish this? Thank you.
Guys, is anybody else seeing this?
Yeah, I'm seeing it.
Whoa, whoa, whoa. Hold on.
I guess. I
think
guess
I'm
it's
getting
the same
similar
vibe.
vibes.
Yeah, I was gonna say the same thing. I got similar vibes. I definitely get the similar vibes. I just don't know why I felt like it was a lot scary. Maybe it was a different trailer that I saw that was just meant to be.
Let's be real though. Regan is he gets so scared at movies.
Freaking hate scary movies.
He hates scary movies. He was holding my hand and he was like, "My gosh, scary movies! I smell like farts."
Yeah, dude. It
Yeah,
freaking
he was literally like trying to
sucks.
hold my hand during that entire freaking time. But ladies
Yeah.
and gentlemen, that was a low key, high key. This was a good movie.
Yeah,
I really liked it.
Matthew, for my rating, I think I definitely give it probably 4.5. Same with you. I think this is a good movie, Disney, that they've needed for a long time. And I hope that the box office really shows that people like this movie, because I think the actors are tremendous. I mean, I want to give a big shout out to Chase Dillon, the kid actor. I think he is tremendous in this whole movie. I hound on it every freaking time, but it's a game changer of basically the child actors that they have in these movies. And Chase Dillon is phenomenal. I think he is one of my new favorite child actors because he really owned in his character and really presented to you that he's this dorky kid. And I think we need to protect him and make sure that he kind of grows up in a good life, because a lot of the child actors haven't been able to. And so he's I'm very impressed by him. Very impressed. So I'm really happy about that he was in this.
Since we're talking about actors and actresses, let's talk about freaking Isabel Dawson. Or excuse me, not Isabel Dawson. Rosario Dawson.
Oh yeah.
Freaking in this movie, I think she was one of the weaker characters, if I'm being honest, when it comes to acting and performance. But good nonetheless. I think I'm more excited to know that she's going to be playing Ahsoka soon when we get the Ahsoka series. And so it was really cool to see her on the screen just before we get that TV show personally. Now I don't know how much that excites you, Regan, with her being Rosario Dawson, but she's going to be playing freaking Ahsoka. The big thing that I wanted to at least mention with this movie was that, man, this thing wasn't a freaking woke fest like every other freaking Disney movie that's been popping off. Like, there was a purpose for everything that they talked about. Like, for an example, like they based the movie out of New Orleans, right? That's what they did. They based the movie out of New Orleans. They showed what culture is like in New Orleans. They showed the different things that New Orleans has to offer. Right? They didn't try to take a story and paint it as, just this woke crap agenda like Barbie did, for an example. Which, to be honest with you, going into it, I was like, oh gosh, what wokeness, what crap are we gonna have to watch? What are we gonna subject ourselves to for the next 2 hours? Right? Like that's what
I thought the same thing. I thought that's what we were gonna go into. Is another Disney movie with the whole agenda of pushing, LGBTQIA stuff. And that's mostly the things I'm concerned about with kids movies is what they're pushing on. And so that's what I thought they were going to be pushing. And that didn't happen in here. That really, I think this was a very family centered movie because they talk about the mom and the husband is gone out of the picture, but you don't know he's passed away. You don't really know, as well as the other main character. What's this? Ben Matthews or Lakeith Stanfield. Also, bravo to him. I think he's one of my new favorite actors. I think he has a very cool and distinct way. Just a cool guy in his acting. I love it. I just love it. But yeah, it was very family centered. And to me, that's what I've always thought of Disney as a family centered type industry. And they've changed that obviously over the years, but this is what I have been hoping for Disney to get back to someday. But in other ways, Matthew, I do want to talk about this. I think it was, Disney is nuts. I think it was a money grab. And I talked to you about this afterwards because they know this is going to work for other audiences. They know this is going to work in suburban areas and all those areas. And it's going to just work pretty much everywhere. But there's, we talked about this too, is that there's a lot of name drops. A lot of like Costco, Amazon, Walgreens, Walmart, Burger King. They mention these verbally and visually on screen, and it just kind of makes me think in a way that this was just a money grab for them. And it's kind of something that I'm like, I don't know. I hope they make more like this. I really do. But in other ways, it's just like, I know the evil. And so people will maybe are just trying to just, get enough money because of all the other things are failing and they need money more. They need more money. And, so that's where I am very kind of standoffish with this movie.
And I think we agree to not disagree, but we partially agree and partially disagree. I think movies do this already, but this movie. Let me backtrack here. So, this movie in particular was very upfront with when the psychic lady, she would be like, "Hey, I got this thing from. Oh, I forgot to unsubscribe from my Amazon Prime," and she made it very obvious that she was subscribed to Amazon Prime, or that she made a Costco run and bought this stuff, or the Burger King was very apparent in the movie. And from knowing, hey, like companies do pay movies, pay production companies to implement their stuff into the movies. I do know it's it's already a thing, but to add it to the script, to add it to the movie, to make it a big thing, not a big thing, but make it more apparent than it usually is, that was kind of annoying. I wasn't a huge fan of that, right? Like, for an example, I used this example to Regan when I was explaining it, because at the time, I mean, for me, this is normal, right? Like, I realize and recognize that this is built for advertising. This is why they put this in the movie.
I get that.
As we talk about Barbie, for an example,
Mhm.
Barbie had the Mustang. The lady was driving the Mustang, and that was a advertising ploy for that Mustang. Because after the movie came out, now they had commercials about that Mustang, right? But it wasn't necessarily like they were saying, "Look at my Mustang," or "I just bought this Mustang GTX5," or, you know, whatever it is.
It could have been any car, though.
It could have been any car. It could have been any car.
Right.
But what I'm saying is that was a big piece of the movie, and they made money because Ford made money because they had a commercial afterwards to entice people about the movie, from the movie.
I don't think it was like a huge part of the movie because, like I said, they could have chose any car at any time, basically, except, I mean, during filming, they could have, I mean, until the actual.
But that was like a big part, like that was a big car in the movie.
It was, yeah, it was a very extinguished car for sure.
Yeah, it's almost like this is why we agree to agree partially and disagree partially, because from the advertising perspective, I understand that that Ford paid Barbie or whoever created the Barbie movie to have their vehicle as the main vehicle for the lady in the movie, right? And do these action sequences and make it a very standoff vehicle, right? Because then it just makes sense, right? Because after it, we see commercials about the vehicle. We see that they label it from Barbie, right?
Yep.
You can go to Google and type in the Mustang Barbie or whatever. It's a very normal thing in movies. But what this movie did that stood out from other movies is usually it's like a subtle thing that normal people don't realize, that it's being it's being a upfront advertisement. Is that this one was like, is they were like vocally advertising the business essentially. It made it very awkward and that'd be like me pausing the podcast and being like, "Our sponsor today is Grubhub."
Well, that's,
I mean, it's not exactly like that, but it was awkward enough to where people who have watched enough movies will realize that this shouldn't have been in the movie, and it was an awkward part to put that in.
And I get they have to. That's one way of them getting paid for this movie. Besides the box office, it's other companies coming in to put in their own advertisement, and it is a different way of advertising, 100%, because you'd never seen this before. With well, yeah, I guess I can't think of a movie where they very much were really verbally they were verbal about the advertisement about, and it wasn't like we're sponsoring this movie sponsored by, it was just like, I got my Amazon Prime, I got it canceled, or like, I love Burger King, let me eat my burger or whatever.
It was just so awkward. It was awkward and unnecessary.
And
movies have a beat, right? Like, we all have a beat to where we talk. And when they add the advertisement, it took you off the beat of the movie for a second. to talk about the thing, and then it got you back on beat. That's what it did.
Yeah, it's cheap entertainment, that's for sure. And
For sure.
But that's just kind of how another way of them making money off of the movie. And I get that. You know, you can you want to make as much money as you can off of what you're making, so it's not a total dud. If this fails, they want to make sure that they make some type of money off of it. Kind of lower.
Think Oppenheimer should have done more advertising like in the movie because my heavens, the cast on that movie, there's no way anybody's getting paid more than I mean, there's just no way people are going to get paid without upfront
There's
advertisement.
so many actors on that one, and I don't know. I agree that they should have done a lot better at advertising that. I think there was more Barbie advertising. I mean, freaking look at Google. Google right now, if you go on Google, well, maybe not anymore, but before you'd go on Google, just to google.com, and it'd be the Barbie thing. Or if you just type in, is it going to do it? Yeah, if you go to and type in Barbie, you get all these little pink, like sparkly things out throughout your screen. And then you're like, well, I hope Oppenheimer has a ginormous bomb that explodes on my screen. But no.
I mean,
it's just
Oppenheimer's made 400 million.
Really?
400 million global box office. Yeah. So I mean, they are making money unless producers have cash. Yeah, unless producers have cash and they can pay these people. But Oppenheimer had so many people. Isaac, it was. I don't know if Isaac watched it, but oh my heavens!
He said last time he hasn't saw it, but he might have changed it.
Oppenheimer had so many actors that, like, I think it would have been personally. And see, this is where I think us doing a podcast, it doesn't ruin movies for us, but it makes us think of movies and how movies are made differently. Because we think about the numbers outside of it. We think about how does the advertising work? How does this work? Why do they do this? Right. And when we watch the movie, a normal person probably would have just watched the movie and not even thought about the advertising being thrown out there for no reason. Right. Like, a normal person would have been like, this is normal. There wasn't anything weird about it. But then for us, we're like, that just doesn't hit the right beat. It's just awkward and it just feels like a grab. But honestly, though, let's not complain about it because we didn't get no woke crap that.
Yeah. And that's why I give it a 4.5.
Yeah.
That I think it's high enough that I would definitely go back. I would definitely go back and watch this movie again, especially with my son. But I talked to him today, and he's like, "Yeah, that's for sure. Once you go woke, you become a joke. That's 100% sure."
Exactly.
But he said, "I don't want to see that." I'm like, okay, because
he should have gone with us, but he was gone.
He was.
Yeah,
that's all right.
He would have loved it.
I think so too. I think it would have been a great movie. And if you guys really do want to go bring your children, it's Goof and Goober family friendly, certified.
The Goof and Goober stamped.
The Goof and Goober stamp. If we could have a freaking graphic right now with a stamp that says certified stamp, and we'd put it right here, and man, you guys be like, wow. This is so sweet. But yeah, that's I don't know. I did kind of want to talk a little bit. This is one of the things I did want to talk about the deeper type. Yeah, GG underlay behind the certified. Yep, 100%.
Yep. Facts.
The G&G. Is it G&G or GG? Anyways, I don't know. It's up to you. Maybe that's what maybe Isaac should be our graphic designer,
our confidant.
But I kind of wanted to sit down with you and maybe think about a deeper meaning. Like, what is the main purpose? Basically the moral behind this whole story, because you know, it was a good movie. You know, it's a fun to watch movie. But you know, there's a moral, I think, with, you know, Ben Mathis, Matthias, or whatever you want to say. Having to deal with the struggle of losing his wife and then never believing in what she truly believed in, for basically trying to that. I think that's a foreshadow for him saying, I want to forget everything about you because and not have to deal with the pain. Because in some ways, as he is going through life after his wife's death, who was a ghost tour guide, and then he became a ghost tour guide, but then didn't believe in ghosts as she did. Do you think I think there's a deeper meaning there for people, I mean, watching this and trying to understand this, because if I'd like to dissect that. I don't know, there's not a whole lot of time that we can spend to dissect every little thing that I'd like to.
Yeah, I think I think we can relate it back to the almost like Christianity in some ways, right? Is like sometimes people believe different things, right? But the problem with this scenario is that his wife believed one thing, he didn't believe in the other, right? And so it comes down to, like, you know, obviously being equally yoked and what it takes to be equally yoked, right? Like, it's easy for us as Christians or people who believe in the same thing, but it's much harder to be faithful in hard times, or be like on the same page in hard times if we don't believe in the same thing. And I think this movie's tough because it doesn't necessarily point in any direction of, like, I mean, obviously, so we see that the main character, what was his name again?
Ben,
not Mathis.
Or
Was
do
it
you
Ben?
mean Gabby?
I'm talking about Ben. Okay, so
Yeah, Ben.
So we see Ben kind of go through this discovery phase, if you will, in his life, right? And it's only after everything happened did he finally realize that the answers have always been in front of him. He just hasn't realized it, if that makes sense. Like we talked about earlier, right? We talk about space. We talk about what is being created right now, and the things that are created and in front of our face. There's a purpose and there's a reason. Sometimes we just don't pay attention to that reason. Sometimes we look past the reason. We look past what the answers that are literally in our face right now. In some ways, right? Like for Christianity, is God created everything, and there is a creator, and there's people out there in this world that it's right in front of their face. They, you know, the cat was in his face. The cat was at his door. The answers were right there, but he was so blinded by his own personal beliefs, his own personal ego, if you will, and it shed him away, essentially.
Because I think it goes back to that dark matter camera thing that he was making, and it failed him. And I think that he failed. I think that's what's hard even about pain. Yeah, because you really have to get over yourself in some ways about pain. Because that's what the whole thing was, that he had to really get over himself and deal with the matter. Because I mean, like with the dark matter thing, I think what happened, because he was already caught up. Like he was saying, he was caught up in with work and everything. He had no care on the outside world, and then then his wife went out and got, I think it was a car accident or something like that.
Yep.
And then he blamed himself, and then his whole dark matter camera was a complete fail. And so dealing with that, there's a lot of foreshadow, especially with that cat. Because it's been on his doorstep waiting for him to accept the cat in,
to open the door.
Open the door and accept it in. And even when, like, at the beginning scene when Owen Wilson comes in with the cat, he's like, that's not my cat. And he hasn't even noticed that the cat was there. And so but it's been there the whole time.
I think it's crazy. He brings up pain, but sometimes pain is, and this is my personal belief. And I know Jesse definitely disagrees with that. That's a guy who was on our podcast, like episode 3, is that sometimes I think God puts pain in puts pain in our lives to make us learn from the pain, right? Just like he did it to, he did it to a ton of people in the Bible, or people
Job.
had their own demise, and then they had to learn from their mistakes,
Jonah.
or they had to Jonah. You could name so many people, and that there was pain, there was problems, but the answers were there. They just had to discover those answers for themselves and realize that it's not their decision, it's not their choice, and nothing they could do could really make or change anything. It's really letting yourself go and letting God take control, essentially.
Yeah. Well, Jesse really, I love Jesse and his dad and their church, but they are very vocal about preaching the prosperity gospel, and that if you do good and you believe with all your 100% of your heart, that Jesus is Lord, then everything you ever want will be given to you by God, and all you have to do is just ask him. Jesus, give me a jet, and the jet will show up. And I don't.
He's not here to defend himself on every point,
right?
But
I get
but
that.
I think I do agree with Isaac. Is that I don't. So I'm not saying God puts that in our lives, but He does. I do believe that He allows, because based off of our choices, He's going to let our choice take its course. He's going to let our choice, whether it's bad, whether it's right, whether it's wrong, He's going to let it take its course. And then He's going to use that as a learning, as a learning curve, or a learning point, or a point of redemption for everyone. I don't think God puts bad things in our lives. I think I misquoted myself or stated incorrectly when I said that. I think that's kind of what happened, is that this guy kind of did it to himself by, I think, even in dealing with our pain, what we do with it matters. What we do with it matters, exactly.
Yeah.
It is a choice. It is a choice. So in the movie, he had the choice of dealing with this stupid camera, right? Dealing with this stupid camera and the failures of the camera, or going with his wife to go get tater tots. That was the dilemma.
Yeah.
And I know it sounds stupid, but the concept of it, but when she went out, she got tater tots by herself. He didn't say, I love you or anything. And she passed away. Now, at that point, because of, he could have passed away too. Something could have happened. Who knows? But now at that point, he needs to use that as a learning curve. And I think that was the message of the movie, is that always choose the tots. Hey, Napoleon, where'd you get those tots?
I was trying to watch that last night. I was like,
but the purpose of the movies, I think it's redemption. I think is what it is. Redemption, in discovering a new way.
Yeah.
Because I think I'd be willing to guess that there's going to be another Haunted Mansion.
I hope so. I really do. That because it was good enough that I think it should get a revamp. But yeah. Beth, you got anything else you would like to add to this?
Go freaking see the movie, guys.
Yeah.
It's a I
It is a good
don't know
movie.
if we can say very much. Oh, Trevor commented on our YouTube. Sure, there is my girl. I love you, Scarlett. Papa waving at you. Oh my that's my dad.
Yeah.
Oh, dad.
Yeah,
Great grandpa. Great grandpa.
Yeah.
Yeah. So go check out Haunted Mansion. It was a good one. Dad, you showed up late. I'd say go watch it. It's not a woke movie. I know you hate woke movies. It's not a woke movie. It's a pretty good one. It's pretty funny. Got a couple scary points, nothing crazy, but it was a good movie. And I definitely highly recommend it. Other than that, I don't really have anything else, to be honest with you. Yeah, it was good.
Any hauls? You got any hauls?
Any hauls?
Weekly hauls?
Dude, I don't have any freaking hauls.
Typical. I did just buy. So Axel, my son, loves this new game. Well, we haven't gotten it yet. We're about to try it out. But it's called Monster. What is it called? Madness. It's like a
Monster
playing
Madness.
card game. And I haven't tried it out yet. We'll see. I'll let you guys know. It should be arriving tomorrow. Monster Madness, yeah, and Dungeon Mayhem. It's like a D&D thing. I don't know. We'll see how it goes. I'm curious. I don't know if I like the comedian Father Owen Wilson. I freaking loved him.
What? How did you not like him? He was one of the best parts of the movie. He was hilarious.
Truly was.
He was a liar. He was a liar, though. That was the problem.
But guys, thank you so much for listening to the Goof and Goober Show. We are so glad you are listening wherever you are. If you are listening and you loved what you hear, consider thinking of dropping a like and a follow or subscribing, and possibly leaving a comment of what you liked, what you didn't like, because Matthew and I, we're just kind of winging it and swinging it. Winging and
thrive
swinging.
on criticism.
Yes. So if you could help us out in that, and if you made it this far, thank you so much. And we love you guys. And we're so glad you are here. And God's love will not be canceled, as Matthew's shirt says. That will conclude our episode 28. We're almost at episode 30. My word. Goodness gracious.
Tell him the math. Tell him the freaking math.
The freaking math is right now, we are in probably the top 5% of freaking podcasts right now.
Ever created
of all podcasts. Because most podcasts can't even make it after 3 episodes. And we're on episode almost 10 times that, dude. We're almost freaking 10 times that. And that's amazing.
Yeah.
That's a feat to say we're in the top 5. You know? Probably I mean probably 2.5 now, you know? Some people probably, I mean, I guess after you get past maybe the 15th episode, you're like, well, we just got to do it.
Say that without your sword.
Screw you guys.
He
aren't
thought
gonna
he
get
had his
wrecked.
freaking wisdom teeth. Oh, what!
I thought I had to get my wisdom teeth. I was going to be like wrecked for the freaking pod today. I probably should get my wisdom teeth removed. But in this whole situation, it kind of makes me think I just want them removed, but whatever. But guys, thank you so much for listening. It's been a great episode. Your boys will be back next week. Well, just one of the GAGs with a special guest. You guys come down. Let's have a good time. We will see you guys. Oh, wait.
Next week, Monday, 8 o'clock, Central Standard Time. Peace. Peace.
Thanks for listening to the Double G Show. Make sure you like, comment, and subscribe to our YouTube channel at The Goof and Goober Show. And why don't you check out our Instagram page at The Goof and Goober Show for even more content and drop a follow. Thanks again, and have a wonderful day.